Welcome to Midweek News, episode 89 for August 14th, 2024. Let's get started. Matrix messaging for Linux gets better with Fractal 8. Built with Rust and tailored for the GNOME desktop, it can be used on most popular Linux desktops. The single screenshot in the article does look nice. 86% of security professionals view unknown risks as a top concern. This number has increased since 2023. An interesting read if you want to get more of a feel for what security people are thinking. Mozilla Firefox 1.2.9 is now available for download. This is considered a minor update, but here are some updates. The reader view now has a text and layout menu, which replaces the type controls menu. A new theme menu is available. Tab previews. HTTPS is now the default in the address bar for non-local sites. And there are a few web developer features that have been added or updated as well. Get your copy free today. Available for Linux, macOS, and Windows. The unixmen site has a guide for setting up a proxy server. This might just make a fun weekend project. I've been wanting to play around more with proxy servers for a while now anyway, and I may get on the bandwagon. Could be a fun project. 62% of phishing emails pass DMARC checks. This is a real issue, especially in light of our dear friend Linus getting phished recently. According to the article, Darktrace has observed an increase in attackers making use of popular, legitimate third-party services and sites, such as Dropbox and Slack, in their operations to blend in with normal network traffic. The most common threats over the report period were information stealing malware at 29%, Trojans at 15%, remote access Trojans at 12%, botnets at 6%, and loaders at 6%. You can get the full report at the Darktrace site. How to run a Linux command without keeping it in history. There's an explanation how you can delete specific commands from the history selectively. There are a handful of legitimate use cases for this technique, and probably many more use cases for those with nefarious intents. Still, a useful technique to know about. TUXEDO InfinityFlex 14, a Linux convertible laptop. Features a 14-inch matte touchscreen with a 1080p resolution in a 16:10 aspect ratio, offering 400 nits of brightness. Powered by an Intel Core i5-1335U processor with 10 cores. Prices starting at €1189 for European customers and just below €1,000 for those of us outside Europe. Now available for pre-order with shipments expected to start mid-September. System76 launches Pop! OS 24.04 LTS with Cosmic Desktop in alpha versions. Several in the practical IT community have expressed excitement for this development. I have been running it for a few days now in a VM, and while there are several things I've noticed not being available yet, it is a very snappy experience for an alpha level release. If you have yet to experience it, grab yourself a copy of their ISO image and get it installed in a virtual machine or on an extra PC now. IPFire 2.29 Core 187 firewall has been released. The new version adds an extra layer of protection against denial of service attacks. You can read more information. You can read more about it in the release announcement. Grab your free copy of their ISO image today and play around with it yourself. Microsoft reveals Office security flaw that has not yet been patched. This seems to be a good argument for my continued use of alternative Office suites instead of Microsoft Office. CVE 2024-38200 impacts the 32 and 64-bit versions of Office 2016, 2019, LTSC 2021, and Microsoft 365 apps for Enterprise. By the time you are listening to this episode, it may have been patched, but do your own due diligence. The Raspberry Pi Pico 2 has been released to much fanfare and a little RISC. Yes, as a line from the cult classic movie Hackers says, RISC is good. That's RISC, R-I-S-C. The new Pico 2 is powered by the RP2350 microcontroller, which has some nice specs. 2 ARM Cortex-M33 cores running at 150 MHz, support for floating point and DSP, 12 upgraded PIO state machines, robust security architecture, 520 kilobytes of on-chip SRAM, 2 RISC-V Hazard 3 cores, a redundancy Crow processor, and hardware fast glitch detectors, priced at $5. Many partner projects using the RP2350 chip have been announced from companies like Adafruit, Citron, Hellbender, Seed, and Wiznet. What would you like to do with a Pico 2 or a competing product based on that RP2350 chip? And last but not least, Canonical announces major Ubuntu kernel change. There will be a big shift in the kernel selection process for future Ubuntu releases. Currently, Ubuntu releases include the most recent stable kernel at the time of the kernel freeze milestone in the Ubuntu development cycle. An example of what they're trying to avoid is Ubuntu 23.04 included Linux kernel 6.2, but 6.3 came out less than a week later. We will see how this pans out and what flexibility it adds going forward. It is certainly an interesting change. And that, my friends, will bring us to the end of Midweek News episode 89 for August the 14th, 2024. Stay safe out there and have a great day.